Hi everybody, welcome back to Ox Talks. It is Monday, November 6th, 2023. I want to start by saying thank you to everybody for the overwhelming response on the video that I uploaded on Saturday evening. It took a little longer than normal to get uploaded. I had some issues. There was a video that Jeremiah and I did together. We just talked about some current events for 10 or 15 minutes, but the response was significant Saturday evening into Sunday, continued all the way through yesterday. And, I just want to say thank you to those of you that watched the video. Thank you to those that have subscribed to the channel. If you feel that the content is something that you can learn from and maybe give you a little bit extra information every day to evaluate, I would really appreciate you subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, and sharing these videos with your family and friends. I know that I come up against a wall every day trying to wake my family and friends up and to share these topics with them so they're better armed to address what I believe is unfolding now and going to be coming into 2024. So we all have to hopefully do our part, and to the extent that we're forming a nice little community here, I'm really overwhelmed with the positive comments, the engaging thoughts you guys are leaving in the comments. I do read them. I do my best to respond to them. So again, thank you for the support this weekend. The views on that video were significantly higher than the other videos, and hopefully we're onto something here, and we'll start making a greater impact with all of us. So with that being said, there were a couple of events today I thought were worthy of discussing. The first one is regarding Citigroup Bank. And it's an article that I read, came out on Zero Hedge a while ago today, and it says that Citigroup is the third largest bank by assets in this country. And what Citigroup is saying is that they're contemplating laying off 10% or more of their workforce. And from what I read in the article, there's currently about 240,000 employees with Citigroup. So we're talking about at least 24,000 people that are slated to lose their jobs in the coming months. I remember a law school professor I had, and I think it was in corporations, one of my first early corporations courses in law school. And I remember him saying a corporation has one primary goal, and that is to maximize value for its shareholders. And that means maximizing the value of their stock. And the article that I read about the Citigroup Bank is that their share price has been falling, and the investors are getting irritated, and they're trying to compete with the other banks. So at the end of the day, these corporations don't care about the employees, guys. I mean, that might be the warm and fuzzy story they say, but at the end of the day, they have one goal, and that's to keep their share price as high as possible, to keep their dividends as high as possible, to keep their shareholders happy. That is their lifeblood, and that is what they focus on. And if it means cutting, like we're seeing here with Citigroup, cutting more than 10% of the workforce to restore profitability and to keep the shareholders happy, that is exactly what they are going to do. And it doesn't matter whether it's Citigroup or any other larger corporation. If you are an employee, you are at risk. Every day, I don't care how cushy you think your position is or how well supported it is, things can change overnight with corporate strategy, corporate policy, and you may find yourself without a job. So we talk about trying to make yourself create a self-sufficient situation for you and your family by starting your own business. Look, a mom and pop business that supports the local community and has a handful of employees, they have a different goal. They're not a larger corporation necessarily. They're not looking, everybody wants to make profit, but they might have some other altruistic goals which they're trying to employ in a local community. A larger corporation doesn't have that. And so just keep that in mind. Starting your own business, starting a side hustle, which we talk about all the time, is so important right now to the extent that you can do that. Please look at those potential avenues for yourself and your family. It'll help you sleep better at night, even starting something small and bringing in a few dollars a month from some source other than your primary employer. And again, I know I beat a dead horse about the starting your own business thing, but more so than I've ever seen ever in my working career, do I think it's important to do that. I ran into a lady the other night. I was out having dinner, and she and her husband saw me sitting in the restaurant, and it happened to be someone that worked with my law firm years and years ago. She was my office manager, and she was explaining to me that she had just decided to start her own paralegal business, and that she was keeping, the staff down, keeping the overhead low, and she had a small office space, and how she was building the business. I was trying to tell her or work with her, discuss with her ways that she can, I think, be more profitable, not take on as much risk. And I felt, really encouraged that she was doing that. I said, look, that's the theme of this channel, is that people need to become independent to the extent that they can. So I explained to her it's a great environment for that kind of business. There's going to be even more need, I think, for that in the coming months and years. Unfortunately, when times get tough, people do need legal input. They need paralegals. They need lawyers on matters that arise. But the overall theme was I was really proud of her for branching out and taking this step. And it kind of made me think as well about how over the years I have done my best to reduce, constrict, minimize my overhead. Years ago, I had office staff, I had contract attorneys, I had billing assistants, I had office managers, I had staffs of people that, I say staffs, I had several people that were on the payroll. I had fancy office space. And I had, all these expenses going out. And I remember waking up at the beginning of each month, and even months where I was having a really, really good month, I had to earn X amount of dollars just to get to the break-even point after I made all the payroll, the rent expenses, all the utilities, all the research tools I paid for and publications. Anyway, over the years, I have worked very hard to minimize that. And what I've found is running lean and mean is a great way to go if you can do it. Now, some businesses require that you have certain staff members. I know a lot of my clients are doctors, and they have to have billing people, they have to have staff. I get it. Depends on what kind of business you're in. My business, fortunately, I can do everything as well, if not better than anybody else that could do it for me. So I've become self-sufficient in my practice. It's taken me a lot of years to learn that for me and my business model, it makes the most sense from a profitability perspective, and just from having things done the first time the right way. And I'm sure you guys, sometimes it gets frustrating when you're employing somebody and you have to, redo the work 2 or 3 times to your specifications. And I know, everyone has their own work styles and platforms, but just something to think about. If you can reduce the overhead, number one, don't overcommit. If you're starting a new business, be very, very careful with how much overhead you take on, how much staff you take on, how much equipment you purchase. You've got to really evaluate that and keep it as lean as you possibly can to maximize your chance for success. And those of you that have had a business for many, many years like me, finding ways to reduce the staff, reduce the overhead, it can make a lot of sense. So keep it in mind. The last article I saw, the second article I saw today that I thought was worth sharing with you because it kind of touched on a whole lot of different topics, and it was from CNBC, and it says the holiday spending outlook is sluggish across thousands of retailers, CNBC supply chain survey says. It says as holiday shopping season begins, lack of big orders from retailers is the rule, amid fears that consumer spending will be weak, according to a new CNBC supply chain survey. At C&H Robinson, which serves 7,500 retailers, customers are generally being cautious, said Noah Hoffman, Vice President for North American Surface Transportation. With inflation still an issue and ongoing uncertainty about U.S. economy and the risk of recession. It says C.H. Robinson's economics team believes that the economy is approaching an inflection point in consumer spending as Americans deplete savings built up from pandemic stimulus. We discussed this several times on this channel. The consumers are out of money. It says, quote, we're already seeing this emerge in some leading indicators like loan and credit card delinquencies, Hoffman said. We know that too. The credit card rates are at an all-time high. Delinquencies are rising, not only in terms of credit card payments, but in terms of auto loan payments as well. The article goes on to say, a recent message from retailers and shippers has been very pessimistic. At the CNBC Evolve Global Summit last Thursday, Target CEO Brian Cornwell said the company is doubling down on its cautious outlook for the holiday season. At the same event, FedEx CEO Raj Subramanian, I'm sure I mispronounced that name, said that while the destocking period has ended for retailers, a majority of logistics firms say that products being moved into stores this holiday are more promotional, lower cost items into the store. An even larger majority, 83%, indicated that they are not moving higher priced items. Products experiencing the biggest pullback ranked in order: appliances, furniture, household goods, luxury items, and aspirational luxury. So look, people are not able to even spend what they once spent on, filling their shopping cart because all the items are costing more. We know that. Going to the store, you don't get nearly as much as you once did, and you're paying more for it. That is translating down to what these retailers are expecting coming into this holiday season. People just don't have the money to be buying this stuff. It says all eyes will be on the U.S. consumer over the next 8 to 10 weeks, said Tim Robertson, CEO of DHL Global Forwarding Americas. And the article concludes by saying, this year has been a year marked by numerous trucking bankruptcies. Yellow, one of the largest trucking companies in the United States, filed for bankruptcy on July 31st. We know that. 40-year-old Montana trucking company SELCSS and Elmer Bucha Trucking, an Indiana company that has been in business for 80 years, also filed for bankruptcy. A massive freight recession contributed to a shutdown of the Convoy, a trucking startup backed by Jeff Bezos. According to Tank Transport, rising fuel costs and falling freight rates have caused a total of 31,278 trucking companies to either close or shifted their services to larger fleets. That's an amazing amount of closures and bankruptcies. And then this I thought was important as well. I saw this a few days ago. Uber Freight CEO recently told CNBC that fuel prices will lead to a new tipping point in the freight industry shakeout, with less diversified business models unable to operate on a cost-effective basis. And he said, unfortunately, we're going to see significant challenges in volumes, and this will continue to cause more providers to exit the market or implement significant layoffs, Brasher said. This is not 2008 or 2009 by any means, but it sure feels like it. So, that ties in, is the unhealthy consumer, the broke consumer, the retailers that are just not planning to stock the shelves for these holidays like they might have in years past when the pandemic money was flowing. The freight companies are going out of business in droves because they're not getting the freight, because the retailers are not buying the stock to stock the shelves. So this all reverberates down, guys. So keep it in mind, watch what's going on, because it affects all of us on a daily basis. With that being said, I will leave it. Went a little bit long today. I apologize, 14 minutes. Please get your exercise in today. Fitness is extremely important for, obviously, our physical well-being, but as importantly, our emotional well-being, to reduce stress levels, to increase the ability to cope and our coping mechanism. So, get your 15 minutes or half an hour of walking in today, get drop down, get 10 push-ups in, start small, work your way up, get some sit-ups in, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Thanks.